Hi, my name is Infinite, and you're listening to Infinite Rocket Power. This podcast will be conducted on a weekly or bi weekly basis regarding topics in my life and different aspects and perspectives about life. Today's topic is emotions. Do we have the keys to mastering ourselves? Emotions are a natural part of being a human. They shape our experiences and influence our actions. However, sometimes our emotions can get the best of us, leading to impulsive decisions and irrational behavior. A person might not keep their word or follow through with their own tasks due to their own emotions. Learning to master our emotions is a crucial skill that can greatly enhance our own well being and interactions with others. Today, we will explore effective strategies and techniques to help gain control of our emotions and mastering the high vibrational lifestyle that we all deserve. But before we get started, if you love Kate Spade, Bessie Johnson, or any other exclusive jewelry, please visit www.prosperityboutique.com and be sure that you like and subscribe. How's everyone doing today?
Awesome.
Good.
Trust me, real
Doing
good.
good. Doing
Okay,
good.
that's good. I missed y'all. Happy August.
Yeah, miss you too. Miss you too. Yeah.
Okay, we're
Been
gonna
waiting
go.
on another one.
We're gonna go ahead and introduce ourselves, starting with Blanco.
El Blanco. I'm with Meta News in Horizon World. That's my one of my primary functions now is with the business segment. My second project I'm working with is will be with Metaverse. We got some coming along the line, and everybody know about Isha Two Shy's Pure Design. So we merged Blanco brands and Pure Designs, and that's what I do here in Horizon World.
All right, thank you for that. You on mute?
I'm just talking. Start over. Hello, everyone. My name is B, and I am the CEO, owner, and founder of B Organics. B Organics once was B Aroma Scent, but we have now since rebranded, and we are B Organics, where we make healthy hair and beard products. Our products are non-toxic, non-chemical. We also are tree nut ingredient free, and you can find us here in Horizon at B Organics Beauty Supply Store, or you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under B Organics.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fancy J. I'm just your regular gamer and sometimes a sponsor for places when needed. And that's just a little bit about me.
Mm. It's your boy Rello God 3.0, you know what I'm saying, Stride, Alabama. And I'm an inspirational motivational speaker and Horizon World builder. This your boy. Get at your boy.
Thank you. All right, Caddy Poo, Pookie.
I'm Caddy Pookie. That's it.
Drop the mic.
I'm like, wow, I don't have anything. Well, we got a couple art worlds. That's about it. Yeah, okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yo, what's happening, everyone? I am temporarily Maddie Caked, past tense. I am actually Maddie Cakes with a double S, local legend, motivational speaker, tour guide, multifaceted, full spectrum when it comes to everything that I do. And I apologize if I cut off in the middle of my sentence to go downstairs and suplex my dog if he doesn't stop barking during this podcast. So I'm great to be here with all these phenomenal minds at the table.
Thank you for, and I greatly appreciate you all for being here and having you all. Now, when we speak on emotions, we would say that triggers and emotional response go hand in hand. And a trigger is a word or person, event, or an experiences that immediately touches and gives off an immediate emotional reaction. Now, this question is going to be for everybody, starting with Blanco. What's something that triggers you?
Any sign of disrespect. Just any sign of disrespect triggers me. Whether I react to it or not at first, that what triggers me.
Okay. B.
Lack of intelligence. Because I'm allergic to stupidity.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, you said what triggers
Yeah.
emotion?
What's one thing? No, no. What's one thing that triggers you?
I would have to say the lack of respect to other people
Okay.
about, what they're saying or doing, that people just blatantly have a lack of respect for it.
Okay. Rello.
You on mute?
You're on mute, Rollo.
Oh yeah, I had to say, like I said, it's disrespect. You know what I'm saying? I give you your respect first. You know what I'm saying? I just want it back. That's it.
Okay. Katie Pookie.
I agree with them. Respect.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Inconsistency for me. I can deal with disrespect because my problem is that people will act a certain way to take you to a certain level and then flip the script on you completely. So disrespect goes under that umbrella, but inconsistency absolutely it drives me insane.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And I think fake people trigger me. You know, people that just do things out of not just being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Starting with you, Blanco. Can you think of a time when you experienced a strong emotional response, and how did it affect your action and your decision?
Me reacting, me reacting to a emotional response, or me creating an emotional response.
A time that you experienced a strong emotional response.
Mm. So I'm experiencing something and I have an emotional response. Um, you know, in this society, we get these things placed on us as men, and men supposed to be always cool headed, cool handed, and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So based on that, being that I'm part of this society, being that I have the same upbringings, it makes me feel negative in myself after the fact, because you could handle it differently. You can always handle it differently after you had an emotional response. Because once you complete that emotional response and go back to a balance, you can see it a whole different way.
Okay. All right. Bia, let me ask you this. What are some common misconceptions about emotional responses?
Hmm.
Wow, that's a loaded question. Mm. I don't think there are any misconceptions of the response. The misconception is of the person
Mm.
that gave the response. You misconceive me for maybe a punk, maybe somebody slow. I don't know. And then you got offended at my response, but you didn't have a problem with your action for
Mm.
my reaction. And that's it.
Thank you on that one, B.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's law.
Um, Rilla, I'm gonna ask you this, and I'm gonna get back to you, Fancy. When you have a quick and a very hostile emotional response, how long does it take for you to bounce back from situations like that? If you've been disrespected from someone, how long does it take for you to bounce back? And let's just say they're unapologetic about disrespecting you.
Well, me walking under the practice of me, being the Lord's servant, it don't take me that long, because I can easily replace that as the unknown, and when I say the unknown, as they haven't been taught no better, so I just use that excuse to cover up what their actions had cast upon me.
Okay.
So it don't take that long. I say about probably an hour, 30 minutes.
And you don't think about it anymore?
Nah, I don't think about it no more.
But how do you move on from that?
I mean, it come with the, making an excuse up for it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just attacking the situation, I just, coat it with, you know, he haven't been talking about, he haven't been talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So I just I blame the parents instead of them, and that way I wash my hand with them, and the problem gone.
Okay.
You know.
Thank you for that. Fancy, how do you think cultural and societal factors influence our emotional responses?
Well, I think that affect them in different ways because it all depends on how you've been raised and grown up and taught. Because everybody has their own kind of cultures and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and emotions that go into that are played out on how they've been taught and raised in whatever culture it might be. So it always can play a factor in the way we react with our emotions. It's just one thing. It all just depends on how they were raised and given in that factor. And everybody has to understand that we all come from different backgrounds and different things that play into our emotions. So to kind of be knowledgeable about that when you are mixing those in with different people and different cultures, things like that, and being understanding.
So, Blanc, I want to ask you this. You said something about being a black man and some things. You come from the black culture, so would you say that from being in the black culture, some of the foods that we eat and hot chips and uh the noodles and all that stuff. Do you think any of that plays a role in some of the emotional response of people's
Absolutely.
reaction towards each other?
Absolutely. Um, it's a lot of factors, especially when you start talking about culture. But just to make sure you understand, I move in society as a white, not as a black society. I look at white and black as statuses, not races. Races is a system, so I don't play system games, so I don't take the labels. But I understand. I come from black culture. I come from that. Before I changed all my records, I was from that. But in answering the question, everything, especially foods, contribute to our inability to move with clear thinking. Because cloudy blood, what I'm saying, you got cloudy cells,
Mm.
cloudy thinking. The foods are contaminated because corporations are allowed to do what they need to do to make profit, because it's all about the corporations first, even though they try to tell you it's all about, we got these agencies that's going to protect you from the corporations. But everything from food, even to sound waves, even to chemicals they put in the air, they call chemtrails. All these things are conditioning things, just like fluoride that's in your toothpaste that was already determined as a CIDE. So you don't want that, right? But we put that in our products to either make us docile or to make us incapable of responding in a state of mind that we would normally be in if we were in a better state of being.
Thank you for that.
Great answer.
Maddie, let me ask you. Can you think of a time when you witnessed someone else's emotional response, such as disrespect? And how did it make you feel? And what did you learn from that experience?
I can. I grew up in an emotionally unstable household. My mother had what is now they're reading into it the DID. An angel artist in here is a very uh, profound advocate of getting that awareness out there. And my mother suffered from that. So you were constantly walking on eggshells when you would come home. You didn't know if you were getting the crafty mom that wanted to do stuff. You didn't know if you were getting the morose mom or the one that was going to smack you around and berate you and this and that. And every single day, even hours within the day, were frightening because you didn't know. And I've witnessed multiple occasions of emotional attack, and my responses to that in the beginning were just submission. It was just, and not submission in strength, submission in receding, I would say. So falling back, so you didn't come under the scope. But as I grew and I was able to evaluate and analyze and study, once you understand the nature of the beast, you can study its habits. A turtle is slow and an eagle soars. Once I was able to understand where that was coming from, how it was coming, and this and that, it allowed me to gauge in a broader spectrum around me. So sometimes helpless is the answer. Nowadays, it's all a learning lesson for me.
Okay.
Every individual witness.
I appreciate that. Caddy, what role do you think self-awareness plays in understanding and managing our emotional responses?
Next.
Poor Kathy.
B, you want to help her out?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. What role do you think self-awareness plays in managing and understanding our emotional responses?
It plays a big role only if you understand yourself. It would play a big role. When you don't know who you are, that doesn't play a role. Self-awareness. Because when you know who you are and you understand people or understand you can put yourself in somebody else's place, put somebody else in somebody else's position, and kind of step back and understand maybe they're having a bad day today for their response, and kind of understand. But if you don't know who you are and how to control who you are, you can't have any sympathy or empathy for other people.
It seems like it's taking people a lot longer to figure themselves out. What do you think is the cause of that?
Social media.
Mm-hmm.
We watch too much social media and try and recreate that in our own lives instead of being who we are and who we were created to be. Understand your purpose here on this earth and understanding that and doing what your cause is instead of trying to do what somebody is doing on social media, because that's not going to do anything for you. It's not. Your vision, what God gives you into your spirit for you to do, that's your purpose, that's your calling. Not what somebody is doing on social media. That may be their calling, their purpose, but it's not for you because everything ain't for everybody.
That's a good question.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Rello, have you ever experienced a situation where your emotional response was different from what people expected?
My bad. But yeah, man, it happens all the time, man. 'Cause I ain't gonna lie though. My image can come off as sorry, fancy. Ain't to be in your lap like that. I know, but yeah,
You're
man,
good.
all the time, man, cause they'll look at me as this hood dude. I come off and everybody are different, right? But when they get a situation come, they expect me to automatically handle the situation with aggression, and then the moment they see me talk through a situation, they be like, "Dang, oh man, like we've been misjudging this guy the whole time. Like we never really got to know this guy. We just went off of image characteristics, and they just ran with it. So I mean,
Do you feel like you face that more often than not?
oh yeah, most definitely, more often, yeah, most definitely, because it comes with intimidation, and a lot of people easily get intimidated in this new model generation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. So would you say people's perception of you might be something that just triggers them?
Oh yeah, for sure. It triggered them because it's all about how they were raised up in their household, though. Like if your parents raise you up and say, "Hey, don't hang around these certain type of guys, they're bad guys." You know what I'm saying? Don't hang around these type of women because these women ain't no good. So, yeah, it depends on how they was groomed. You know what I'm saying? In their growing up stage. So if they look at me as a bad guy, yeah, it's most likely gonna, you know, yeah.
Okay. Fancy, I want
Hmm.
to ask you this question, and it's a little deep, so just be ready, okay? How do you perceive the how do you perceive the relationship between emotional response and personal growth?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I'd have to say they kind of go in hand, though, because, I mean, your own personal growth with your own emotions and controlling them are something that you have to look in and look at yourself. Because I definitely can grow from, how I've handled situations and my response to them through my emotions. But that's something that you kind of have to keep in check and realize with your own self on how you are responding emotionally, because there could be something that's really big you're responding to, um and those emotions that you respond with that you keep in check can be part of your own personal growth, because the way you handle it, you have to think about if you are going to answer it in a um in a better situation, or answering it in a, how do I say this, um filling into someone's shoes on answering it. And that, I think, gives you personal growth, because you are actually putting yourself into those person's shoes and how they might feel or respond to the situation. And that makes you grow in yourself as far as understanding and um, seeing how that they might be in that time and then in that respect. So I think both of them kind of go hand in hand, because unless you could totally not think about it that way, and you wouldn't have any personal growth if you decide to not put yourself into someone's shoes like that on what emotions they're doing. But
Okay.
hopefully that answers what you're asking.
I think it does. And I would like to ask you the same question, Maddie.
Yes, ma'am. Could you repeat it, please?
Yes. How do you perceive the relationship between emotional response and personal growth?
How do I perceive it? That's the question.
Yep.
How I perceive it is, it's, man, that's tough. So, like, I say like this, and in conjunction with another question that was asked about people's perception of my emotional response and personal growth, when Rello answered a second ago, it's not my concern how other people perceive me. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about what other people think about me, because there's quite literally a million copies of me that exist in this world. In fact, the me that exists only exists in my own mind, right? How y'all around this table perceive the way that I emotionally respond to things and this and that. That's how I exist to you. Okay. So this journey that I'm taking with emotional response to stuff, it only means something truly to me because I'm the one that has the fundamental understanding of why I'm responding a certain way, why I'm doing stuff a certain way in response to stuff that's going on around me. And it's only me that can experience that personal growth. Now, I could have someone like you, I could have Blanco, I could have anyone around this table, met a coach, whatever, sit down next to me and talk to me about these topics. And I can extrapolate what I need from that, you know, if I can't fill in the blanks myself. But emotional response and personal growth, that's how I perceive it. That's a journey that you got to battle truly on your own.
Mm.
because other people just aren't going to see me for who I am unless they are me for what I am.
Okay. All right. British Candy. If you go right around here to on the corner next to Jeffrey.
I hope that answers it. Did
It
that make
does.
sense?
It does. It does.
Okay. Oh, okay.
She's touching Jeffrey instead of going behind around him. She's
Yeah,
Go
Somebody
behind,
can.
behind Jeffrey.
Oh,
Go
you go
behind him.
around.
There you go.
Okay.
Now we're
Hey.
recording, so if you want to go ahead and have a seat, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm British Candy.
Okay.
And what do
Very
you do here in
interesting.
Horizon British?
Oh, World Promotions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Today's topic, British, is emotions and how do we master them? Because they say emotions are the keys to mastering ourselves. So let's see here. Next question. Rello, can you think of a time when you had to manage conflicting emotions?
Hmm.
You got some good questions.
Conflicting.
It's a great question.
Conflicting.
Meaning,
Yeah,
like
conflicting.
you might have been your old self might have did it the one way, but your new self trying to do it the new way, and then you trying to you don't know what to do, but you're battling between. Can you had a time like that before?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like um yeah, when I was on 23 years old, yeah, I came, yeah. It's the guy, he came up to me, he was one of my best friends though, and he was so caught up in his old lifestyle, I was just getting ready, to start my journey on ready my wrongs, and he was still in that life, and he kept trying to, provoke me to, entertain the situation he had going on. But then I was like, dang, I want to help him because he's my best friend. And again, I know consequences, the repercussions can also have a part in me, going down that road with him. And, I'm like, dang. But then I want to do the right thing because I believe in blessings and I believe in all my types of religion that I believe in. So yeah, when I was young, when I was about 23 years old, he asked me to do him a solid, hold him down or whatever. And and at that time in my mind, I was trying to get myself together and stuff like that. So yeah, it was. If I was to explain it would have been like, I didn't want to, I didn't want to. How can I put this? Because I know you be fun. I didn't want to live a criminal background. Okay, I didn't want to live a criminal lifestyle. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to. I didn't want to go and hurt others. So no more. So I wanted to do right, and so I had a battle. I had to fight with myself. Like, should I go and help him, or should I, just continue doing what I'm doing and see how they go? So yeah,
Okay. Thank you for sharing
yeah,
us. Thank it sounded like
yeah.
that was a personal growth moment for you.
Yeah, it was. It was deep. It was real deep. Yeah, it was. It was a moment like I know if I take this path with him, you know, I was going to end up losing my life for real. And yeah, it was pretty deep. Yeah, yeah. But I end up, telling them no, and we end up falling out behind the situation and whatnot. But he ended up understanding me and the journey that I was trying to accomplish, and it ended up at the end,
Okay.
a year or two later, yeah, but it ended up working out.
All right.
Well, it seems like you had to do what was, right for you and your situation at the
Right.
moment. So,
And my mental states for real, it was more my mental
hmm
state because when you do something so long, you so adapted to doing something so long, and you trying something different, yeah, it look different.
yeah, sounds like a hard decision, but a good one.
right. And it was a good decision, you know what I'm saying? It was the best
Yeah.
decision I could ever made, you know, because the way I heard that played out, it didn't, yeah, it was a lot better, you
Okay.
know.
B, I would like
But
to ask you the same question. B.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were talking to me. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, ma'am. Let's see here. Can you think of a time when you had to manage conflicting emotions? And how did you navigate through those emotions?
Mm. Every day I go through that in my life. There's someone that likes to poke the bear on a regular basis, and I just said I decided what I'm going to do for my sanity and my peace is to pick my battles. If it's not worth me cussing you out, I'm not going to cuss you out, and I'm either going to ignore you or I'm going to move out the way.
Is it ever really worth cussing somebody out, B, from your experience?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, all the times that someone ever done you wrong or just, thought they were shitting on you, was it ever worth cussing them out?
It made me feel better at the moment. At the moment. But when I reflect back on some of the things that I said and why I said it made me feel bad because I could have just walked away. I could have not said anything. I could have ignored them, whatever, depending on who it was or what reason it was that I cussed them out for.
Okay.
But this is what I do now. I choose my battles. If it's not worth me raising my blood pressure for, I don't.
Okay.
I'm learning to keep my sanity in a place because this is me. This is mine. If I don't protect this, nobody will. So I have to do what's best for me.
Blanc, I want to ask you that same question.
Oh, that's a good question because I said it when you first asked that question. Okay, dealing with everybody who come from different backgrounds, different litmus paper made out of different fabric, and they say them culture you cut from. I'm from Muskogee Creek Nation. We warrior nations. Period. You know what I'm saying? So we have things, lines we keep drawn. It's always a line, right? So we can have conflict and all that other good stuff. And then, like I said before, we can emotionally, you can go beyond where you want to go and then look back at it and go, damn, because I'm supposed to be growing, I'm supposed to be able to grow. But like Maddie said, right? You don't really know a person. Like you think you know a person based on academia and all these constructive things that say, oh, this is what makes us better Americans or better whatever. You know what I'm saying? We are who we are, and we are who we are, why we are, for the purpose of what we are. It ain't no outside determination of that. And I tell people all the time, don't be confused about the reaction you get from an action. From me, don't ever be confused because the personal growth side is experience. Experience say, okay, this cat just came sideways. He got perceptions, this ponytail, he from the south or whatever. He's slow, or whatever. That's the perception, right? So try to meet him somewhere, try to meet him in the ground because we seeing that he going down the wrong path with me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Then that don't happen. Yeah, I may cuss him straight out, whatever. I may just that's my warning shot, really. My emotion is my warning shot, So when you come later on with that, oh dude, you shouldn't let nobody do men don't da 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 da. I done heard that since I've been in here. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, man, you must understand where I'm from. Certain things disrespect, you lose your whole life. You don't get hurt, you lose your whole life, right? So my thing is that's come I say it's a good show because being I was raised in the house with women and sisters, right? I have that foundation for emotion first, but the emotion is always your warning. If you walk around Horizon Worlds and you see that everything that I do, I'm really like trying to promote whatever, I should let you know that's what I'm really on. I'm about. But when you turn the table around and see that other side of Gemini, then that's what I'm about too. You know what I'm saying? So those emotions on this side are part of the ego that's there to protect that good guy, that good side. Because you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to shit on the good guy and stand on the good guy for too long because the good guy going to say, okay, you got this. You know what I'm saying? So the personal growth, I make personal growth all the time because it's my purpose and my intent, right? To see myself for what I am and what I do. And you'll find some cats, I come back and apologize when I see I went too far with my emotions or whatever. But if I don't think that my emotions are really part of the ego side that's protected me all my life to where I'm here today.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. British Candy, one of the first questions that I asked everybody is, what is one thing that triggers them? What's one thing that triggers you?
Can't really think of anything that just. It depends on the mood that I'm in. To be fair.
So if you just woke up and some stuff is going on, you don't ever get triggered. I mean, fake people don't trigger you. People lying to your face triggering you. People saying that they're your friend and don't support you. Does that not trigger you? People being in your business and you hearing about it after the fact. Does that trigger you?
What what triggers me? I suppose I don't even say triggers me. It just annoys me. Is when people touch my stuff. Like I like my things a particular way. I have my things in order, and if you touch my stuff, I expect you to put it back where it came from, the way I left it, and not the way you feel you want to leave it on the floor or, that really annoys me because I care about my belongings. I take care of my stuff. So that's one thing that I would say I wouldn't even say triggers me. It just bothers me. I try not to let things trigger me because triggers are things that are unhealed within, you know? A lot of the time when things trigger you, it's like things that are unhealed. Those are the things that come to surface. So I get bothered by things, yeah, but I don't get really triggered by things. Because that means it's like it pulls you like, boom, and then you just get out of control. Nah, nothing triggers me because I'm a person I constantly, how can I say, align myself. I'm always thinking about like where I'm placing myself and how I'm going to feel if I go there. Like, how's that going to affect me? Because you see, in order to be in control of your emotions, you got to know yourself. So you know where to place yourself, people, places, and things. That kind of vibe.
So you say you constantly work on having enough self-awareness to condition yourself to where those external factors don't hinder you or bother you, so you can live the best life.
And then if something bothers me, like I get emotional about something, then I look within and say, okay, what caused me to feel that way? And then I look at myself first. Then I look at my surroundings and the people I was around, what they would have said, or and I analyze it and I deep it, and I say to myself, all right, cool. I'll work on that, and I just won't place myself around that until I work on that. Because a lot of the time we want to blame other people for the way we respond to things, but you have to first look at self because it's what we're projecting,
Well, let me ask you this: the same way that we have negative triggers, do you think that there are positive triggers as well?
Yeah, there's a balance of everything. Yeah, light, dark, negative, positive. Yeah.
What are some positive triggers? What are some things that you think trigger you positively to have a positive emotional reaction?
Good energy. I like people that walk into a room and they just got good energy straight away. Like I've got a friend on here, and every time she comes into a room, Nisha 94, like she does this little bouncy thing, and it just puts you in this vibe. Look, you're laughing, and I'm not even her, but she does.
That's Lucia. That's Lucia.
And straight away, she's like, and she just puts this energy into you, and you're like, yes, like I needed that. Is the injection. That is something that it triggers me to be happy, and yeah, I can't lie to you.
Okay, thank you for
Love
that.
her spirit. Love her spirit. Yes,
amazing.
Maddie, do you believe that triggers are universal, or do they vary from person to person?
I'll tell you what's triggering me right now is getting smacked in the face every 10 seconds by these 4-leaf clovers.
That's a blessing on the way, Maddie. That's a blessing on the way.
Yeah, for real.
No, individual basis. Absolutely. an individual basis. I mean, there is the universal spectrum of emotions that are established, which we're not even, and senses and stuff like that, that we're not even brought up properly to understand, since we're only brought up to believe in five senses when your body is literally a tuning fork for so much more, and they keep you shielded from that. But it is an individual thing. What's good for the goose ain't always good for the gander. You know what I mean? And what's gonna mess up Fancy or you or where was that guy in the background over there? May not affect me.
Mm-hmm.
The universal spectrum of the emotions and the layers to that are there, but I may be in a different spot than someone else's.
Can I say
Not
something?
maybe, I am.
Okay. V?
Triggers are unhealed places in us. That's what triggers are. And what causes us to react to that trigger is like having a sore and someone touches it when it hasn't healed yet. And you're like, ow. And when someone says something or does something to you that reopens a wound in you that was never healed, that's what a trigger is. And that could be anything. That could be anything in us. Something as small as being a child and never having toys of your own. So now you become a hoarder when you become an adult. That's a trigger from being a child and never having anything. So, triggers is a lot of things. And we may not think that that's a trigger, but it is. And not realizing where that trigger came from, where that wound was opened at. And when we go back to the starting place of where that wound was open and heal it from that little girl or that little boy, then we can do away with the triggers.
Okay. So would you say that they're considered a valuable learning opportunity?
I would.
Well, it
Because you learn
depends on what the
about
situation
yourself
is.
when you deal with your triggers. You learn a lot about yourself when you start to identify and denounce and do away with those triggers. You learn a lot about yourself.
Okay. And what was you saying, Rollo? And we'll get
Yeah,
to you.
the situation. I mean, because I got a number one trigger that probably would never leave me, right? So the trigger is I don't like nobody to touch from the back of my neck. You know what I'm saying? It came about when I was in like the 8th grade. For real, this is a true story. This happened, and I was sitting in summer school. I was in summer school, and I ain't gonna lie, it was a very aggressive crowd. You know what I'm saying? Summer school is basically where all the bad kids go because we ain't never been in school.
Who wasn't paying attention
So,
all
and
year
that,
long?
I was in
right,
summer school in eighth grade too.
yeah, yeah, true story. So we stand in summer school, and you know me, I get in the back of the classroom, and the teacher walking out of the classroom, and then it was just nothing but us in there. So I'm sitting there minding my business, everybody else talking and laughing, but I did that. I didn't feel it. And a dude came up behind me, and the only words I heard him say is, "This is how you slap a PS." No PN. As in pussy. You know what I'm saying? And he slapped me hard as hell on the back of the neck, and it did something to me. We tore that classroom up after he did it, but after that day, I just never let nobody just touch me on my neck. If they try to go back there, no, it just don't do it. Yeah. So that's a major trigger that I feel like
That
will
may
never
not be a
leave.
trigger,
I'm
but
the
it may be
same
a
way with the
phobia.
back and neck. I don't like anyone touching
Hmm?
it.
It's almost like PTSD, that what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Bella. Yeah, it's like
It may not be a
PTSD.
trigger, but it could be a
Right.
phobia.
I cherish you, Rello. I want you to know that.
Bruh.
Appreciate that.
Your
Right.
response is just I absolutely love them.
It was
And what were
crazy.
you?
So yeah, I kind of identified that as a trigger. And she said it could be phobia, and everybody said it could be PTSD. But at the moment, changed my whole life.
Wow. It does sound like
Yeah,
PTSD. What was you gonna say, British?
yeah.
Before I ask my next question.
Oh no, what these organics was talking about in terms of when people are triggered by a thing, what helps you with that is doing Dark Night of the Soul. Like when you face yourself, your fears, all your darkness on the inside, etc., etc. When you start walking through that path, it's hard, but once you start walking through it, it actually breaks down. You start analyzing where these fears, where these triggers, where all these things came
Mm-hmm.
from, why it is you respond to things the way you do,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets you in tune with yourself. Do you
Yes.
understand? Yeah, it's a major, major thing, and a lot of people don't take the time to do it. But it's a very painful process, but it's a
Yes.
process that once you get through it, it's like walking through a storm with daggers. Once you get
And
through
coming
it,
out.
you start to heal by the time you get on the other side, and you handle what the world has to throw at you a lot better.
Mm.
A lot of people don't want to look at themselves. You know how you look in the mirror and you see that mirror image because they
Mm-hmm.
don't like what they see. And as long
Mm-hmm.
as they can hide behind an avatar, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for you not to see them flaws. Even though I know they're there, but I'll never let you know they're there
Mm.
because that shows my imperfections and my how you say it, my openness. I'm being vulnerable. A lot of
Vulnerability,
people don't want to be
insecurity.
vulnerable. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to be vulnerable because that's an insecurity. Now I got to show you the ugly parts of me. I don't know if you don't like me anymore if you see those ugly parts. And a lot of people don't want people to see those parts of them. So they hide them behind the avatar. And that could be whatever. It could be sex, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be a whole lot of things that people hide behind just so you don't see those ugly parts of them, which is only ugly to me because I'm the only one that sees them.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You, as being my friend, my real friend, you're going to help me through those things. That's what a real friend does. But me not knowing myself, I can't be vulnerable because I don't know myself yet.
I love what
Interesting.
I see when I look in the mirror. I admire it even.
Let's go.
This
So,
guy.
Blanca, let me ask you
Why
this.
is
B
he
said
like this?
something earlier that I found interesting. What's the difference between being triggered and
PTSD.
yeah,
PTSD.
PTSD?
PTSD.
What's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
It's no. I mean, it's a difference in
No difference.
definition. It's a different in foundation what they mean, but
Mm-hmm.
one of them has post traumatic stress disorder, right? Is can be triggered. That's why it's post
Mm-hmm.
traumatic. That's why it extend beyond acute stress
Mm-hmm.
disorder. Acute means it was
And
Mm-hmm.
triggers
traumatic.
can
It
turn
happened
into PTSD.
and it happened, and so therefore it lingered on. That means if it lingered on, you carried it with you, right? And then anything,
Residual.
mm-hmm. So anything that takes you back down that path to that experience, right, is a trigger, right? You know what I'm saying? And so then now you start
Mm-hmm.
complicating it, talking about personal growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying because now it's a condition, like
Because you didn't put a
uh,
band-aid on it. You didn't put no corn. You didn't put no what's that other cream you put on sores? Uh
Neosporin.
yeah, you didn't put no neosporin on it. Those are the healing process. And it'll turn into PTSD because you never tried to heal it.
Okay. So, Rollo, let me get back to you. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Now, earlier, earlier, I asked you. I said, Rello, what is your bounce back? How long does it take for you to bounce back? And you said about an hour. So do you feel like with that situation that you just shared with us, do you feel like you never just bounced back from it, or do you feel like it just hit there was so much disrespect in that one moment that it just scarred you for life? How do you feel?
Well, um, in a way, it helped my awareness. You know what I'm saying? Because like I described the moment I was looking down, and it happened. It wasn't no face to face or nothing like that. But I mean, like, well, I carried it with me. I wouldn't say that. Uh, I wouldn't say that it was disrespectful at the same time, but it was also a learning process at the same time. So, uh, well, that I never bounced back from that, because it was a learning experience to keep my awareness open, to stay, make sure, this never happened again. So I wouldn't necessarily call it, I never bounced back from that. No.
So do you feel like it was more of someone invading your personal space, and now you got to, be mindful of that because you need to be mindful of that anyways?
True story. True story. Yeah, and ain't that what it is though? At the moment, the person that I was then, I got groomed into who I am now. You see what I'm saying? So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when I was young, I was more energetic, more fluently. I was more in tune. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm more distant, more, compact, and more, like structured. So, but the obstacles that came about, about me living, it helped groom the situation a little better and help me understand. So, yeah,
Okay. Thank you for that.
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Maddie, what advice would you give someone struggling right now to manage their triggers?
Awareness of your surroundings, awareness of who you are. Like, let's see, two things. One, B said that she chooses her battles now. She either, you know, corrects the situation or she steps out the way. You know what I mean? A lot of people a lot of people really struggle with lack of experience when it comes to their emotions and
Mm.
whatnot. And not lack of experience hands on when it comes to like what's making them emotional, but lack of experience with the outside world reacting to how they operate. You know what I mean? Because there's a whole plethora of things out there. It's one of them things that you're as a parent, you're afraid that you're the word of reason for your children until you send them off to school. Now you got a whole cacophony of noise inside their ear, and they're coming home with all these things. So like same thing with emotions. You can regulate your emotions all day and night, but the moment that you take that and you put it into the melting pot with everybody else, there's a lot different result that you're going to get there. Secondly, something that Rello said, I'd like to touch on that and apply it to this answer. He said that he was more in tune, when he was younger, whereas now he's more distant. It's not that there's a lack of being in tune now. You're just in tune to different things now. Your focus is in different areas. Like Ice Cube said in that one interview, he said, I don't go back to the hood. People that say, why don't you go back to the hood? He goes, because I came from there. Why am I them young bulls that are there now? They don't care who I am. I'm just some old guy who ain't in the game anymore. But when I'm in there, my head is on a swivel and everything is hyper focused.
Mm.
Not many people can manage that.
Mm-mm.
Not many people can manage that kind of response. Like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Fancy, one of my triggers is sometimes I get overwhelmed quickly and fast. What advice would you give to someone that's being overwhelmed?
Oh, I never gave my voice.
We're gonna get back to you.
One, I would say to take a deep breath, step back, and take a look at what the situation is. Give yourself some time to think it over, and understand exactly what it is and what's coming from it. You don't always have to be right on the spot with whatever's going on. You can take a moment for yourself to actually kind of think about it and understand it. Take a step back and think about it. There's no problems with doing that. Kind of get it around in your mind. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. Until you are ready to answer or do what you want to do with it.
Thank you for that. Maddie, did you want to add your advice
I
on there?
I did. I'm so sorry. Something my brain goes a million miles a minute, so I'll get asked something and I'll start answering it, and then I'll get off the beaten path and something completely different. So I'm a leader in work, and I train people all the time in work. Okay, and like we had said on a former podcast, I work in global expediting. Well, sometimes stuff gets sent in a manner that's not good. I mean, it's you got to pick stuff up, you got to do this, and new guys to the job they would get mad all the time. Oh, this is this and this, and I tell them, hey, yo, calm down, take a step back. You know what I mean? Take a step back and reevaluate the situation because now you getting. And I'm just using this as an example. Now you're getting mad at an inanimate object. So are you really mad at what's in front of you, or is it some type of inequity within inside yourself? So I always tell people in that situation, take a step back and to prove it to them. So like I'm 6'5" and 248 pounds as of Tuesday, right? Because that was the last time I weighed myself. And I will turn around to a box and I will scream at it. Bah! And all these new guys just jump. Yo, what you doing? I said, now. I just screamed at this box. How did the box respond? They said it did. They said it didn't respond. I said, exactly. So are you really screaming at this or are you screaming at yourself? You know what I mean? You don't know how to control that emotion within you, so it becomes explosive on the outside, or it festers, so you become sad. You know what I mean? And you don't know how to compartmentalize. You don't know how to put things in the categories that they belong in and then make the bullet points mentally, emotionally, spiritually sometimes. Hey, yo, let me tell you something. My plug keeps coming out of my headset, and if it doesn't stop, I'm going to rip it out of the wall. That's an emotional response.
So yeah, just kind of the same thing. Step back, reevaluate the situation, and get your head wrapped around it. It doesn't need to be something that's responded to right away.
Molehills into mountains.
Okay, that sounds all good and all, but let me ask y'all this. So when something just pissed you the fuck off, and you talking about all this compartmentalizing, that takes a lot of time, Maddie. So if I'm on 10, how am I thinking about compartmentalizing?
So I have experience with that. So I haven't been actually angry in several years, actually going on 8 now. I've been frustrated. I have been agitated, which are tears. Like you, my
We
best
just had
friend.
an argument about this earlier.
Yeah, we were just talking about this earlier. So you, my best friend, you, my friend, you're an acquaintance. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's what it really is. I'm just saying there's tiers to things. There's layers to things. And we're talking about mastering emotions right now. I can't properly sit down and talk to someone who hasn't mastered their emotions before when I'm on the mountaintop. I can tell them what the climb was like, but I can't make them feel what the air smells like while I'm up here. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff that goes into this chord, I'm telling you. So this it's very difficult to answer that question on how do you teach people how to do this if they lack the experience. Like the old quote that I always say, sometimes you got to burn your souls in the hot coals to toughen your feet for the journey ahead. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to take the hits to know what it feels like and know how to bounce back. It just is what it is. That's why people practice football before they actually play the game, knowing that injuries can happen. Can you dig it?
I can.
Yeah.
I can.
You can dig it.
Yeah, and that's another thing though. Yeah, you're right though, Medicaid. Yeah, but when you in a moment of that, you could be as hot as you want to, but the moment that thought come with that word called dang, what's that word called? Oh, I can't even think of the word name, but the moment you gotta think about it, man. This is it comes with consequences. That's the word. That's the word I'm talking about. It comes with consequences. So the moment you get hot, you gotta think about it. What's the consequence? Jail or hell? Hey, and if you ain't ready to face now one of them, then you just need to think about it. Like, of course we do it because we premeditated thinkers. You know what I'm saying? Do I really want to go to jail behind this shit? Or do I really want to go to hell behind this? You know what I'm saying? So you ask yourself them questions when you on 10, and that'll pipe you down a whole lot. And that's out the gate. And I had to learn that from an old cat in the streets. And he told me, he was like, hey, you run around here all hot-headed and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It go lead to 2 places. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, think about it. And, when he said it like that, he ain't said nothing else. And it been with me all my life, for real. Yeah.
It's the truth.
Got to think about it.
But Infinite, we talk a lot. And I tell you all the time, get to know you. Get to know
Mm-hmm.
you. That way you don't get to that place of being on 10. Because you got people that out here like to poke the bear. And they will poke and poke and
Mm-hmm.
poke and poke and poke and poke and poke till they find that sore spot in you that makes you blast. But when you get to know you and get to know all them places in you that are still not healed, and you go to heal those places, you don't ever have to worry about being on 10 ever again. Because those they can't poke you anymore.
Mm-hmm. True
We're
story.
Finding
working
out
it.
those places in you, talking to that little girl, because it stems from our childhood. Talking to that little girl that causes you to be on 10 and healing her. And you don't ever have to worry about being on 10 anymore. Now they'll get on 10 because they can't press them buttons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we definitely saw Infinite the other night when you and I were trying to talk, and somebody came up and rudely interrupted us. Like, we had to really kind of calm down the situation and let them know that,
Oh, shoot.
because
Mm-hmm.
they
Hold
had
on.
their own
Oh,
thoughts
shoot.
and their own agenda on it. But had to say, sorry, we're having our own private conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like, you're not welcome at the moment to intrude on our conversation. So we had to kind of take that from a level 10 down to a different level at that moment, because you were there and understood the situation going on with it, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
something that we could change, really. Just had to work it out at the moment as best as we could.
Okay.
Let
Blanco?
me add some. Let me add something to that because I think me and you kind of like vibrating on that same frequency right now. So I'm gonna give an analogy. Okay, I'm gonna give an analogy. I don't know how much y'all pay attention to movies like I do. Star Wars gave you two concepts. They gave you the light side and the dark side. So when you understand the two creeds, right? Everybody's in here sound like the light side. Oh, take the good high road, the good side, this, that, and the third, right? But the light side is only what is part of the balance that maintains the balance that the dark side keeps. You know what I'm saying? So it all really depends on how you gonna walk in this life, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna be able to control, like you said, other people. Then you say you got to control yourself, right? So what they say, right? And and in trying to do so, you're still trying to control yourself, with still interacting with a population and society you gotta interact with. So it's like telling a person who came up in the Jim Crow South during the time when all the laws were saying it was Jim Crow laws. You know, you finna go. No, you're not gonna finna go to counselor and tell everybody we just gotta accept the way it is, whatnot. Because you have people like myself. No, we just ain't doing that. So we're gonna be in war mode all day long until we come up
Mm-hmm.
with something different. Or you can't tell a person who's had the silver spoon in their mouth all their lives and tell them how to look at people who appear to not to want anything, who appear not to know how to
Mm.
treat each themselves, who appear, and you can't tell them that that they got to have patience with you when some of them will give $1 million to a cause to support you and whatnot. So we're living in with all these different interacting factors, and these factors are positive and negative factors. You know what I'm saying? So when I used to apply that Jedi and that black and the dark side, I
The
guarantee
Sith.
you, yeah, the Sith, yep, the Sith, and the Empire
Mm-hmm.
is behind them, or the Sith is behind the Empire. But they tell you when you look at the creeds, most people would want to follow the dark side. If you look at the creeds, if you think about it, but it's kind of crazy because when I look at the creeds, okay, the light side's talking about this, the dark side talking about this. But in the movie or in life, dark side represents, trying to attain the highest heights into immortality. And they just trying to say, well, however it is or which way ever we go, we're just gonna maintain a balance. See what I
Mm.
mean? So I don't get into all the academic whatever stuff of, well, you got to be aware of this and aware of that, because it has truth to it. Don't get me wrong, because it all comes from science. Everything comes from a foundational thing. But it's like at this point in time, in this junction where we're at in the world, people out here are so far removed from morals, from
Mm-hmm.
principles, from everything under the
Yep.
sun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it gets to the point to where they tell you once the virus gets to a certain point, it's gonna take care of everything, right? So, sometimes you just got to be like, it ain't about me holding back for this person or holding back even for myself. Sometimes it's like that's gonna be the only way I'm gonna keep my heart rate from going through the moon, my heart bursting. If I just flat the fuck out, AK your ass up. You know what I'm saying? This is
Yeah.
sometimes this is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes I just don't get no. It ain't no other solution. But well, somebody one of us gonna leave it in because people just ain't got what they need to have in them for you to keep on living a peaceful journey. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this because even though we had talked about this last night, somebody came in and disrupted the whole place. And people get mad at me because I said, man, in real life, this would have happened. They're like, oh, no, that was kids. That's okay then. Well, I had 5 kids at their school. They had to leave school and go join another school. They'd be terrorized the whole time because they stepped into the wrong person's life with that nonsense. Because it ain't a matter about being triggered. It's once again, these are my lines I got drawn. These are my boundaries. You know what I mean? So what some people call triggers, they boundaries to other people. And that's how come, like I
Mm-hmm.
say, like I say, you go to this place over here, you go to different places in this United States of America. And I guarantee you the rules are gonna be different based on what's triggers, what's boundaries, what's values, what's purpose. That's it.
Mm.
How different people see different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. All right. I had a question for British, but she has left the building. Maddie, I'm going to ask you this before we close on out. What role does emotional intelligence play in personal and professional growth?
Hmm. Emotional intelligence is something that was unheard of 15 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emotional intelligence is something that's rapidly on the rise right now, but for good cause. You know what I mean? Because we are beings of emotion, luminous as we may be, right? So it's for professional. I'll say it like this, okay? I'll give an example to my own life. I sent photos back, and I sent photos back, and I sent a very eloquent email about something that had come to us, and the vice president had said, well, "You can't do that. You can't say those things. Why not? Why can't I say those things?" That was the situation. You know what I mean? And I was trying to have a business like sense about it. Now, realistically, um, if it was a difference between real life and personal growth and business growth, I could have just karate chopped you in your neck. You know what I mean? Real quick. But that wouldn't have been congruent with business progression. You know what I mean? And my yearly evaluations. So um, it's you we talked about compartmentalizing earlier. You have to draw lines and boundaries even within yourself. Okay, so let's go
Mm-hmm.
to Blanco's John, that he said about Star Wars, right? Which I will say mildly irritated me, because I'm actually a Star Wars buff. And so he was right when he was saying if people looked at the creeds, they would go towards the dark side. Dark side is easier. It's all just about attaining power and this and that. Whereas some of your more pious, righteous people will be like, "Oh, well, I will go to the light side." But would you though? Because they actually suppress your emotions. They actually tell you that you can't do stuff and make you surrender these things. You can't get married. You can't have children. You can't do this stuff. That's what pissed off Anakin. Anakin was so mad, and I love Anakin, because if you actually read the books like I have, I got 1,098 books in my house, right? And I've read the books. You dive deep into the mind of him, or forget Star Wars. Let's talk about Hunt for Red October. Sean Connery's the big bad Russian guy in the book, or in the movie. But when you read the book, you understand where he's coming from, and and he takes that personal growth to a business growth and blends the two together for, as the movie The Hunt for Red October was depicting, a very catastrophic potential. You know, so personal growth is it's who you are. And then that business growth is taking who you are and throwing it into the cesspool.
Indeed. Indeed. The business. For their laws of power in that business code.
There are. And I follow the 48 laws of power. I was actually just looking at that book before I came to this podcast. I gave it to my daughter because girls are catty. No offense, catty, but that was a play on words. But girls are catty, and y'all as females know that coming up through school. And I told my daughter said, I want to punch this person in the face. I said, no, don't do that. Don't punch her in the face. She goes, but why? You always told me if I was disrespected that I should act on it. I said, yeah, but emotional and mental scarring goes a lot further than punching someone in the face does. Find out what that trigger inside of them is. And then I prompted her and described to her exactly what their response would be. Because listen, in my time, I have crushed and ripped apart mentally and emotionally hundreds of people, and there are only few that I have remorse about doing so. When I came a long way, me 10 years ago, you guys wouldn't be sitting at the same table with me. So I made a lot of personal growth from letting that anger and Blanco earlier said the thing about confusion. That anger inside of you gives you the thought that you have palpable power inside of you, but you do not. You have clouds inside of you. You have all these things going on, and it's not cohesive with mixing personal growth and business growth.
I gotcha. Thank you for that, Maddie.
Thank you for you.
All right, we're going to go and close on out. We're going to say our last and final words, starting with Blanco. We got somebody that's waking up triggered tomorrow morning. What is your advice on how they can change their life as soon as they wake up?
You said waking up triggered?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a hard one. Okay. Yeah, because it's nothing leading to it. They just woke up triggered. I think if they woke up triggered, they need to take some Valium, start their day out, take a bottle of Valium. If they wake up triggered, you know what I mean? But no. But really, waking up, I guess you went to sleep with something unresolved. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, you're gonna have to find out the source of everything, really. Any and everything, you gotta go to the source. If you can get as far back as you can to the source, that's your answer. You stop it at the source, then you don't have that. You don't have it occurring if you can eliminate it from the source.
Okay. Thank you. B?
Waking up triggered, like he said, that means they went to bed last night with something unresolved. But again, even though that was unresolved, the real unresolved issue was within them. So they have to resolve the issues within themselves first before you can resolve the issues with anybody. Because people around you, again, I don't give a hell what people think, and why should you? So regardless, the people around you are not that valuable to cause that type of uproar in you. So resolve the issues within yourself first, and you can deal with the stuff around you on another note.
Thank you for that. Nancy?
So if you're waking up with being triggered, then you need to look into yourself and what it is, first of all, understand it, and see if you can, change it emotionally, and see if it's something that you can resolve in yourself, or even just put it off, at least for the time being. Understanding what it is and seeing where that place setter is for it. Maybe come back to it if needs be, but changing your thoughts and emotions. It's part of learning how to control your emotions, is learning on how to separate them from what's going on really in your life, and see if it's something you can make untriggered, basically.
Okay. Thank you for that. Rello.
Yeah, your boy Rello. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it raw and the cut for you. You know what I'm saying? It's only two things you need to think about. You know what I'm saying? One thing to do and two things to think about. You know what I'm saying? Go and look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I want to go to jail or hell behind this? If you don't, then let it go.
Let it go.
I mean, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't ready, then, it just wasted energy. So, just think about it.
And what you say that bounce back time should be?
That bounce back time should at least be about 30 minutes to an hour. You hear me?
Okay, 30 minutes to an hour. All right. They call
30
that
minutes to an hour.
resilience. They call that resilience.
Straight up.
Caddy,
I
do you
got
have
you.
anything?
Okay. Yeah, I wake up every morning this way. Just, I have recreational use. No, just kidding. No, I just thank God every morning that I'm breathing, that I'm alive, because life is too short. So just get those panties up and get going.
She said get the panties up, not down. And
Get
get
it
going.
on.
No, not down. Get them up. Get them up.
Yeah.
Right?
Almost sound grandma.
And it's up, and it's
Okay.
up, and it's up, and it's up, and it's up, and
Hey.
it's up, and it's up.
All right, thank you for that, Caddy. I really appreciate that energy.
Let's go.
Maddie.
First shot.
I'm sorry, before I go, can we get a repeat of the last answer for a second? I feel like everyone around the table has concurred with that. I feel like if you're waking up triggered, make sure you put your slippers on before you step on the cold floor. You know what I mean? 'Cause you're gonna be more triggered. But yeah, that's unresolved issues if you're waking up triggered. Is the question, what advice do I have for them?
Or
I ain't
just
got
trigger
no
people in general. People that's trying to master their emotions.
Go back to bed and roll over on the other
go
side.
back to bed, man. Get a different blanket or buy another pillow because there's something ain't working out for you. Turn that Tempur-Pedic mattress on to like 54 or 37 or do something to it. You know what I mean? Your sleep pillow.
They are so cute.
But it's that's unresolved issues. And Blanca, I can't believe you didn't say, because you're a person who works with agriculture. I'm surprised you didn't say you got to get it by the root. You know what I mean? I was waiting for that to come, but it never did. Yeah, you do. May I share something? I actually was hypnotized because I was angry, and I was actually hypnotized when I was younger, and it was an out of body experience. People don't have to believe me. I don't care. But it's you do have to go back to the root, and sometimes the root is yesterday, last week. Sometimes it is all the way back in 8th grade, right? And when I got hypnotized, they lowered the jaded mental walls that we build up over life. They let them down. You ever have, like, you're looking at a photo album and your cousin's like, "Oh, damn, you remember when Pop did that?" But you're like, "No, I don't remember that day because it was a traumatic day." You blocked it out.
Yeah.
When I got hypnotized, them walls came down and I remembered everything. I remembered when I first became angry in life. I remember the vivid details, the scent, the sights, the feel of things around me. Everything came down and it was terrifying. But like my father said, that was the last day that I stopped being me. And then for years, decades after that, even, I was trying to chase who I was before that hypnosis happened, not realizing that person can never be found again because you done grown out of them. You know what I mean? And so what advice would I have someone who's starting out a new day, waking up? It's a new day. It's a new page in the journal. You know what I mean? It's a new chance to right wrongs, because there's 24 hours in a day. There's plenty of time to work on not only yourself, but reaching your hand down to someone else who's struggling to get out of bed because they're angry.
Nice.
Matty cakes.
Local legend. I
And all I'm
can't
gonna
do the
say
M.
is, don't let negative emotional triggers be the downfall to our lives. And convert, if we can convert those moments like we did the other day, Fancy, into something positive, that's the best thing going. And with that being said, we're going to have a blessed day. Thank you for watching Infinite Rocket Power Podcast. And you all have a good evening.
Sometimes negative emotion, though, can be emotion.